Hi, guys.
Oh, hi.
Cheers. Happy Sunday. Mm. So, as we have been doing the last few months, we like to have a little Sunday night conversation. And tonight we're going to talk about something that Nancy and I actually have been talking about for actually a long time. We're both network marketers, but we're also business owners, and we deal with people. So I just want to say hi to everyone that's popping on: Doug, Darla, Emily, Michelle, Cindy, Lisa, Melissa. Say hi and where you're coming in from. Feel free to share this with your teams, because what we're going to go over tonight, there's 5 things that we wrote down. These things can go for personal, in your own life, or professionally, depending upon what you do. Thank you, Doug. Hey, Holly. Okay, so what we're going to talk about is how social media and technology, in our opinion, and I'm sure some of you can agree, some of you may not, and technology has really de-socialized us. It's made people more non-confrontational and non-committal, but there is something that we can do about it, and that's what we're going to go over a little bit tonight. So I want to say hi to Dana, Stephen, Kathy, Michael. Good to see everybody on here. So what's up, Seth, Lisa? Happy Sunday as well. So the one thing that we've noticed now more, and a lot of these terms are now brought up because they didn't exist before. But number one, we're just going to get it out of the way because people experience this, and we're gonna go over ghosting. And for those of you that don't know what ghosting is, this can be talked about in the dating world or the business world. Someone connects with you, you converse back and forth, you maybe set up a time to meet somewhere or have a call, and they completely disappear. They go into the witness protection program, they fall off the face of the earth. It's like you guys never talked. And you call, and they don't answer, you leave a message, and then you email them, and then they block you on Facebook like you've done something wrong. So I'm not saying this happened, like this wasn't like us.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, type Y or yes in the chat box if you've ever been ghosted on a personal level or professional level. So what's your take on ghosting?
Yeah, I just think it's so funny because it just, obviously we are, well, I'm a millennial. Scott's like, I think
I'm older.
It's a little bit older, but we saw the invention of computers and the internet and everything. And it's like, if you would have told me, 15, 20 years ago that it was okay for someone to like have friendly conversation and talk to someone and just be totally, whatever. And then all of a sudden just totally stop conversation and just disappear. And that's okay. And that's like a way of life. And literally it happens more often now than ever. In fact, we even just had a convention, right? Like for the Isogenics, they had a whole conversation about
on ghosting.
Like people just being like, "Oh, hi, yes, I love it." In fact, I had someone, and again, I do a nutritional program, right? And I had someone reach out to me
4 times.
Not once, guys. Not twice. Not 3, but 4
times.
And here I am living my life, and I'm like, oh, hey, okay. And she's like, hey, I'm really ready. I'm ready to do the
sign me up.
Sign me up. And I'm like, great, you're gonna love it. Okay. I go and I say, all right, when can I call you? What's your number? She reads the message and then doesn't write back. She does it 4 times. I'm like, I turn to Scott and I'm like, somebody's just messing with me. Like, and it happened 2 times, like in the same like month. And I'm just like, I don't get it, because it's fine if you don't want to do the program, that's fine, but why are you reaching out to me and then disappearing? It's like,
so there's a common theme, and Nick says, I think that's good because it prevented you from meeting a dishonest person, and based on how long the communication has been between you and that person's, they shouldn't really be in effect on your person.
It's true.
Absolutely. So what we have to understand about ghosting is that it's normal. It's a common thing to do. It's like prank calling someone when we were kids. No, it's the truth.
It is.
Let's call this number. Hello, and you just hang up, and you got them.
Yeah.
So a lot of people ghost now. So you have to understand that there's reasons why people ghost, because when they realize that not the situation has gotten more serious, but when they know that there's a decision that needs to be made or something has to be talked about. I mean, God forbid, people get on the phone now and actually talk. It's like so weird to, most people are like, just email me or just message me here. Like, what happened to getting on the phone and talking to people? So I think if we more understand that ghosting, it's nothing personal. It's not us. It's actually that person. And I know, Nancy was sharing a story with me how you can relate this to dating. Like people ghost people dating.
Yeah. No, actually, I've known several people, unfortunately, that they have been ghosted in real life situations, as in not just, okay, I'm going to stop texting you or talking to you, literally in person, meaning that person set up a date with someone and said, let's go to a restaurant. Everything's confirmed. And then the day that they're supposed to go, one person shows up and the other person doesn't. And I just think that's so horrible.
It's just
horrible.
It's just rude. And, it's something that my mom always taught me and my sister as kids, like treat people the way that you would want to be treated back. So have the common decency and the common courtesy to cancel a call, to cancel a date, to not ghost someone. Like, you got to think about it. People are looking to run businesses. They're looking to meet new people. Take that person into consideration. Stop worrying about you. And it's just easy for you not to respond. But, just let that person know. It's so easy. Jennifer says the 4 agreements. Absolutely. It's so easy just to like pull away from something and not deal with it. So stop ghosting. And if you are getting ghosted, it's not you, it's that person. And yeah, it's like, it's not you, it's me. It really is them. All right. So number 2, what I'm talking about with you guys are all things that drive us crazy. And we are human. Like, if you got like, yes, we wake up grateful and thankful every single day, but there are things that really ruffle our feathers, and these are some of them. So, and I know you guys can relate to this. Number 2 is when a message is read, but there's no response. So you see the person has read your message. You've asked them a question. You've been going back and forth, and there's no response. This drives me nuts because, again, if you don't want to buy a product, a good, a service, a package, if you read the message, you've taken the time to open it, just politely say, no, thank you. Just politely say, no, thank you.
I just think it's really funny because, like, you can see if someone read it. Like, this lady that messaged me 4 times in, like, the span of, like, a couple months or weeks, I saw that she read my message. I just responded to her. I said, hey, awesome, you're interested. Hey, can I get your number? And she looked at my message and then ignored me. And it just seems so strange to me. And it's okay. Like, I mean, like Scott said, a lot of people don't want confrontation, right? Why is it so hard to find good leaders? Why is it so hard to find people to be in positions where they can give feedback and do the uncomfortable and, have those tough conversations? It's not a comfortable thing. It's like public speaking, but not, right? It's living life and being respectful, okay? So
I mean, but how would you want to be treated? Like,
well, exactly. But like, I get it. Confrontation isn't great for anyone. And now with social media and the way that we are, it's like we have this ability to communicate with so many people, and we treat it
but don't you agree confrontation is a state of mind? People can view it as I'm confronting this person, but it's not a confrontation.
Absolutely.
It's just letting the person know I'm just not interested.
Absolutely. And it's almost like Mel Robbins. For anyone on here who hasn't heard of her, she's awesome. Check out her book. It's the 5-second rule. She does this thing. It's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Boom. So when anything gives you anxiety, or you feel like it might be confrontational, or you feel like it might be awkward to go up and say hi to that friend you knew from high school, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go do it. Okay? So it comes down to confrontation.
And I just want to ask you guys this. So type a number 1 in the chat box if you are a network marketer, you've been a network marketer, you're a coach, you're a trainer, you require conversations with people to grow a business. Hi, Leslie. Just want to say hi to Monica, Lynn, Jen for jumping on. So type a number 1 in the chat box if you are a network marketer, you've been a network marketer. Okay. So Michelle says number 1. So I know these are going to start coming in now. It's so funny because before I got into network marketing and before I got really into social media, I never experienced any of this. Now, I was a personal trainer, so I would have clients not show up, but I would get a message later, sorry, slept in, or I overslept, I apologize, charge me for the session. So there was always an extreme amount of respect for me, my time, my business, and my service. And I feel like now, because it's so easy to disconnect or connect with people on social media, it's just as easy to just read things and say, whatever. I'm just not gonna reply, because a very simple no thank you, or thought about it but no thanks. Here's what I compare it to. So when we book reservations for restaurants online now through OpenTable or whatever, we always get a text message or a phone call from that restaurant confirming our reservation. And what do? We either pick up the phone and either confirm or cancel, or we respond to that text message confirming or canceling. So if we're going to take that notion, if we're going to take that level of respect for a restaurant where we can or cannot go to, how is that any different from an individual that you've been having communication with, maybe for a possible date or business venture or product, good, or service? None. Because what it comes down to is we choose to give the respect to those that we feel deserve the respect. And in my eyes, every person deserves that respect. Because if you think about it, we're not calling the restaurant, we're calling the hostess. They're just the liaison between the person that does the reservation, to the person that seats you at your table, that takes your order, to the cooks that cook your food, to have that server bring the food right back to you. Now, in a business like this, where we're one-on-one, person to person, you're dealing directly with the person that affects most. So why wouldn't you give that person the same respect that you would a restaurant where you made a reservation?
Yeah, no, it's absolutely true. I mean, it's, again, I see both sides of it. I'm kind of like, it's like a confrontation thing. We don't want to disappoint someone, or maybe we're not ready for something, which again, you can just say, I'm not ready. But again, I get it. And then on the other side of it is just plain, whatever. I'll just let it float off into the wind. It actually, I read it. I don't know exactly where I found this stat, so don't quote me on exact numbers, but they actually said in an article that I read that the USA is one of the worst with social media customer service. That's any kind of online, way that we respond to customers. And I think that's pretty crazy. I mean, the United States is awesome. There's a lot
Amazing.
of great things about it. But the fact that we kind of almost treat people like there's this huge wall up, and now the people on the other side of that computer are now like robots or something. So we treat it like a chat bot, like, yeah, well, I won't respond to that chat bot. In fact, we have been having this conversation for the past like few months. And now every time I talk to a chat bot or somebody on there, I am like nice as hell. Because I'm like, well, maybe it's a real person. I want to be nice, because I know how often
Just
people
want to be kind.
act rude. And it's like, you know what? They probably get so much garbage every day. But yeah, I mean,
even when I have a telemarketer and I answer the phone, it's a telemarketer. I don't hang up anymore. I let them go through their spiel and I say, listen, Steve, I appreciate you giving me the call, but this is something that I'm not really interested in. So if you could be really, really kind, you can take me off your calling list, but I do appreciate your phone call. And then I hang up the phone. Hi, Jeff. Hey, Sean, Alyssa, Nicole, how are you? So number 3, and this is one that still just absolutely blows my mind. A complete no-show. A complete no-show. How many people here have had people reach out to them, set up a call, confirmed it, you call, they don't answer. You message them.
They read it.
They read the message and they don't respond, and then they ghost you. And then they block you. How many people, and I just don't get it. I just don't. Even talking about it, it's just so silly. I just don't get it. To no-show for a call. And it's sad more than anything, because we live in a world today where there's so much disconnect from the real world, and there's so much hatred and anger and everything else being spewed out there that, we have the opportunity and the power and the potential to change the world, to change people's mindsets, to bring love and light and goodness and giving and thoughtfulness and caring into everyone's life every single day. And then we get no-showed. When all we're looking to do, again, is to better someone's life. And I know this drives everyone crazy, but the reality of this is that we can't control how people will behave. People are going to do what they feel is best for them. So it has to do with a lack of confidence. It has to do with a lack of confrontation. It has to do with a lack of respect. Whether it's on purpose or not, foundationally, that's what it comes down to.
Yeah, maybe just organization too. People are all over the place. They forget your appointment.
Yeah, I'm sure we've been on those calls. Oh my God, I forgot you were calling, or I had it written down for this time. You had it written down for this time. Here's another example. You make a dentist appointment. You make a, what does Anthony say? I think the best option overall is a sit-down, face-to-face enrollment, that it is BS-free. I agree. Sometimes belly-to-belly is the best way to do it. So how many times have we made dentist appointments or doctor's appointments? Because that's important to us. Getting our teeth checked, going to the dermatologist, getting our body scans, moles, this, that, or the other. Would we ever dream of no-showing for that appointment? No. Because what happens? Number one, you get a cancellation fee. How much more money would we all have if we had cancellation fees? So think about that. What if there were cancellation fees that we all could charge people for no showing?
Be like, Susie, you owe me $10 on Venmo.
Yeah. How many? So think about that. How many more people would actually show up for those calls? But again, all of these things come back to one thing, and this is what I'm learning from this, is that it's how we feel about it. It's not us. We're just choosing to feel and respond a certain way by someone's actions or non-actions because of expectations. And we've talked about this in other Facebook Lives. So what I've learned and what we're learning together is that setting no expectation, if someone no-shows or reads a message or ghosts us, it's nothing we did. They simply weren't interested. They didn't want to talk. They didn't want a confrontation. They didn't want to say no to us. So the easiest thing for them to do is to no-show, so they don't have to read the response and they can just ghost you and go away. So, number 3. Number 4, and this is something that I've gotten better at understanding, is that we get this all the time too. Not saying what you mean. So we've all gotten in situations where, we've been presented something. It sounds great, sounds amazing. Let's talk tomorrow. Let's schedule a follow-up. I just got to check over some things. And, a good portion of the time, there's people that follow through with their word. But what we've learned is that if people don't have the money for something, aren't serious about it, the easiest thing to do is for them to say, you know what, Nancy, let's set up a call for tomorrow. Let me think about it, and let's talk tomorrow. So it basically delays the inevitable, because then you'll get that message saying, hey, I gave it some thought, I just can't afford it. When in reality, nothing has really changed in between the first conversation to when the follow-up appointment was booked, except for one thing. It was easier for that person to message it in a very non-confrontational way through a text, email, or messenger message than actually have that person voice it to the other person over the phone, for the fear that that person might try to convince them to still buy something they can't afford.
Yeah. And I mean, I get that. And I think this is more respectful. Yep. Not saying what you mean. I still think this is more respectful than just totally disappearing off the face of the earth, because there are things, right? People have to think about it, or they want to back out of the situation a little bit.
Absolutely.
And have some time to digest it. I get that. But yeah, I understand. Yeah.
And what a lot of this comes down to is that the more that we cannot expect this to happen, but understand that this is a part of the game. When you're in sales, when you're in network marketing, when you're in business, part of the game is dealing with people. But you have to realize that, and this is something that a good friend told me, and I was having, and I'll share the story, I was having a difficult situation with a team member of mine, and we were having lunch, and my buddy Phil turns to me and he says, listen, there's something you're missing here. The way that this person is treating you, don't think you're so special.
Oh, I love this one.
They're not treating you any certain way. The way that they're treating you is the way that they treat everybody. And I was like, holy shit. It was one of those holy shit moments, because I was taking it so personally how this person was treating me, where he's like shaking me. He's like, dude,
what makes you so special?
You're not that special. She's treating you the same way that she treats everybody else. So if you're talking to people that are not saying what they mean, they're ghosting you, they're reading and not responding, or they're no-showing, we're not that special. They are doing that to everybody, because the way that we do one thing is the way that we do everything. So if you are that person that says what they mean, you're honest, you're not confrontational, you're having a conversation, you show up for the calls even if you're saying no or you're not buying, out of respect for that person, or you message before the call and say, hey, listen, I gave it some thought, I want to cancel the call for today, now's not the best time, let's talk in a month, I'm going on vacation with my family, I don't want to do shakes, whatever that it's better to do that than to do all the other things that we spoke about. So the way that we treat one person is the way that we want to treat everybody. And Leslie says, I think it says more about them than it does about us. Absolutely. Because we can't control how people are. People are going to be how they want to be. I mean, plain and simple.
People being people.
And I think that's the other thing that's really difficult. I don't want to say difficult, challenging, is when you are in a people-focused business where you're dealing with a lot of people, whether it's teammates or clients. It's hard not to take things personally because you want to turn the mirror back on yourself and say, what did I do wrong? What did I say? What could I have said better? Nothing. There's nothing that you could have said better. That you couldn't have painted the picture any better that you did. It's just pure and simple. The person wasn't interested. They didn't know how to say they weren't interested. So the easiest thing to do is to not have confrontation, to disengage, and to just go off into the wind like a tumbling tumbleweed.
Toodaloo.
So what this comes down to, and this is, I want all of us, Patricia said, it's the law of the few, so get used to it and move on and grow. Denise says they're not saying no to you, they're saying no to themselves. Yes. Mm-hmm. So the people that are on here, we are the A gamers. We are the ones that lift people up. We are the ones that shine the light on those that can't see through the darkness. So what I'm going to ask all of you, and we practice this every day, and Sean said that exactly, but we are here when they are ready. And Cindy says, so in agreement, always make sure I reply and say what I mean or the situation and maybe another time. Michelle says, so true. When we want it for them more, we want it more for them than they want it for themselves. Absolutely. So we have to take the upper hand on this situation. It's up to us. Because if we continue to treat people better, with kindness, with respect, with honesty, then that in turn, they will return that to other people. And Leslie says the best we can do is put one foot in front of the other and keep on going, and definitely don't take it personally. So what this comes down to is some people unintentionally have a lack of respect for the other person's time, energy, and effort in what they're looking to achieve. But in all of this, the one thing that we can't do is take it personally. Because again, I'll go back to what my buddy Phil says. There's nothing special about any of us. People will treat us the way that they treat everybody. So if you treat people with kindness, with love, with honor and respect, we treat everybody that way. We're kind and loving to everyone. And those that don't match energy with us, those are the ones that we don't spend time with, right?
Yeah.
So anything to add? I did a lot of talking tonight. I don't like to do all the talking.
Yeah. No, I mean, like, wrap it up in a bow. I mean, I think, honestly, I've heard from a lot of people who have done business many, many years ago, and I say many, many years ago, but I mean like 20, 30 years ago, compared to now, things have changed so much. And, so many people are having trouble even socializing face to face and with people, small talk. And, we could totally go down a rabbit hole with this. But when it comes down to it, I mean, if anyone's joining this live, at least what can you take away from it? I've done it before. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I've definitely probably not taken time and attention and responded to someone. But I'm going to try to be better with it. Mm-hmm. I mean, because I know that it's a pain when you're trying to schedule things and you're trying to, rearrange and make appointments and you run a tight schedule, which I know you do. Mine isn't as tight as yours, but it really kind of throws things off sometimes. So I'm trying to be more aware of it, throw it out there to you guys.
We love you too, Leslie. Well, before we wrap up, we're going to continue before we finish. What are your biggest takeaways from tonight's Facebook Live? Just share them in the comments below as Nancy continues to wrap.
Yeah, as I continue. So anyway, just think about this, right? Like, how do you interact with other people? When you have confrontation with Bob, Sally, or Joe at the water cooler, or in the break room or something like that, remember, we're all human beings, like, even though we're usually have our head in, our phone or we're, tied to a computer, just look up every once in a while and look around. We're all humans. And whenever we respond on social media and whenever we communicate to each other, there's a human behind that computer. It's not just a chat bot, It's Nancy, it's Scott, So, yeah, that's it.
So what I want you guys to take away from this is that, listen, we've all been guilty of it. I mean, I'm not going to deny I've absolutely ghosted. I've absolutely read messages and not replied. But I understand that no matter how important or unimportant I may feel that message may be on my end, it's not about me. It's about the other person on the other end, because that's something that's really important to them, whether they're waiting to set up a call or wanting to talk to you about something. So simply put, we all have to raise the game. We all have to level up, or should level up, and treat everyone with the utmost respect and kindness, even if it's something they may not want to hear. Because they always say sometimes the truth hurts. The truth doesn't hurt. The truth just stings sometimes because it's not what that person wants to hear. Because, of course, we all want the outcome on both ends to work out for both people. But the fact of the matter is this: sometimes it's not the right time. Sometimes you have to be truthful and honest that I have a lot going on right now. Let's wrap back around in a month, or even better, I'll reach out to you when it's a better time for me. And Leslie says we can't control the actions of others, and when you're in the people business, these things are bound to happen. And as long as I do my part, that's the best I can do and expect. Love that. And Anthony says, I learned you need to learn something from an engagement with a customer. Always be learning. Absolutely. So for those that are on here live or on the replay, thank you guys so much for joining. So just, again, some of the things that happen that we have to get over is people not saying what they mean. People sometimes just have a lack of respect for you and what you do. You're going to have people that no-show for calls. People are going to read and not respond, and you will get ghosted.
Ooh.
You will. But in the end, guys, just remember the two big takeaways for me. Number one, it has nothing to do with us. It has everything to do with that person.
Yep.
And number two, it's not about us and how that person is treating us. If we're not being treated the right way, chances are that person treats every single person in their life that way. So we're not that special. I mean, my mom would disagree. She would say I'm special. I'm sure your mom would say the same thing. We are special. But you guys know what I mean.
Yeah.
So anyway, we appreciate you guys joining us on this Sunday conversation.
Yes.
With Scott and Nancy. And again, don't de-socialize yourself just because it's that much easier to communicate. Really focus on the one thing that can't be replicated, you can't build a funnel around, you can't automate, and that's human connection. So keep the human connection going, love those around you, reach out to people each day, be kind, be respectful, be honorable, and just continue to spread the love. Guys, enjoy the rest of your evenings, and we'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.